Now at Knockhill, it's more from the best of Scottish motorsport with the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons. Richard John Neal and Simon Hill will describe round 14 of their championship after Richard has given us the all-important championship details.
The Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship is open to machines built between 1947 and up to 1980. Doesn't matter what you're driving, you could be driving a small engine car like this Mini Cooper here and still be competitive against the likes of the big Morgan that we've got at the end there, and that's due to the class structure. There are 4 classes that the championship split into, starting with the small cars up to 1500cc. Got the Nick Boy's Mini Cooper S here, which won its class in Saturday's race here this weekend. Class A would also feature the likes of Ian Morton's MG Midget. We've got 3 Alpha Suds as well, so it's a very competitive class, and we've had 4 different class winners in the championship so far this year. If we move up to the 2 litre class, here's a great example of an Alfa Giulia. This car belongs to Richard Merrill, comes all the way from Inverness. The 2 litre class, a very, very busy class. You can also expect to see the likes of the Ford Escort, Mark 1 and Mark 2. Mark 1, of course, from the late 60s, the Mark 2 from the 70s. Very competitive cars. Lotus represented well too. Lotus Elan, the Lotus Europa, a former champion, Ollie Ross, a very competitive car to have in the championship as well. Then we move up to the cars that are over 3.6 litres, so we're getting bigger all the time, and the most popular car currently, the car to have, is the Porsche 911. This example here from Adam Bernard, and he's the son of the championship leader Stan Bernard at the moment. Stan's injured and can't join us this weekend, but Adam's very kindly let us have a look at his car. The 4th class, Class D, is for cars over 3.6 litres, and this is a very fine example of Andrew Smith's outright race-winning Morgan. As you can see, a very well-prepared car, absolutely immaculate. Class D also in this championship, boasting no less than 3 3.9 litre Triumph TR8s that we remember well from those classic rallying days, the likes of Tony Pond driving them. So if it's variety you're after, quality and classic cars, the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons are going to deliver that in droves.
Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons contesting the TMS trophy this weekend at Knockhill. Pole position going to Saturday's race winner Barry Riddell in the Triumph TRA. We've got 4 classes to cover in the course of the race. Andy Smith in the Morgan is alongside him. Then it's Robert Marshall and Shonny Patterson on row 2. Adam Bernard and Mario Ferrari completing row 3. Russell Patterson, the former champion, he's on the outside of row 4. Jimmy Crowe next to him. Then it's Mike Connon and Willie Toy. Ollie Ross, another former champion in the Lotus Europa, and the Class A winner from yesterday, Nick Boys in the Mini Cooper. Robin Benn and Jim Grant on row 7, then it's Richard Merrill and Roger Motherwell on all Alpha row 8, Kieran Bailey and Ian Morton in the MG Midget on row 9. 10th row of the grid, David Scott, then we've got Ian Blacklin in the Fiesta, Alan Barron in the Alpha Sud Sprint, Liz Swan in the Renault 8, then Alex Montgomery is a relative newcomer to racing, Tim Reed in the Marcos next to him. Into the drivers that didn't fare so well yesterday. Colin Beveridge in the Alpha Sud, Class A, then Ian Daltrey, another Alpha. Peter Holdsworth in the Austin Healey Sprite, repairs done to his car. And Derek Hastings in the Caterham 7, car cleared late on this morning in scrutineering, had an engine change, dropped valve yesterday. He was up finishing that off at 4 o'clock this morning. So Derek, who has also been doing a bit of Reiki on championship leader, Stan Bernard, would you believe? So he's healed his engine, he's been healing the drivers as well.
Well, there's a thing we don't often get to talk about, isn't it? About a bit of spiritual healing going on between various different drivers. So we're the ever enthusiastic and sturdy marshals up here, ready to go. And this racing was fantastic. We watched the race yesterday together, Richard, and it is probably one of the most entertaining forms of motorsport. It's so diverse, and for old so-and-sos like you and me, it's our era as well, isn't it? Maybe not the 1947 bit, because of course the regs actually say that these cars can be eligible from 1947 to 1979, but I think the 79 bit we could probably do. But
we could cope with that bit.
Even we're not that old. Nearly.
But no, it's a big catchment area for these cars, and it doesn't matter what you've got, you can come and race it here, and there are 4 classes. We'll talk about the classes as the race unfolds and have a look at who's leading each one of those. But you can come in, and this is a non-championship race, the TMS Trophy, so they're not scoring championship points. But in terms of the championship, you could be racing something like the little Mini Cooper, and because you're racing in your own class, you can still have a chance of winning the overall championship as we get the green flag from the back of the field. And we're getting ready for their second race of the weekend. Lots of starters are going to keep them waiting on the line not too long. And a great start from Andy Smith in the Morgan. Well, on form, we'd expect Andy Smith to pull away from the rest of the field, but a brace of TR8s making a superb start. Barry Riddell, yesterday's race winner, up into 2nd position. Robert Marshall in the Mark II Escort, running in Class B, is in 4th position at the moment. The Marshall construction car down to Scotsman Corner. Now, Andy Smith always a good starter, always a good racer. Didn't start the meeting too well yet. Oh no, Derek Hastings coming through the field in the yellow Caterham. Liz Swan in the Renault pulled up there as well.
It's Alan Barron as well, I think, wasn't it?
It was in the Alpha.
Too. Great shame, because that Caterham was, as you say, was such a massive effort to get that car out. Bless them, they've not had a good start. Hopefully it can get going. It didn't look like it picked up too much damage, Richie, did it?
No, let's hope they can rejoin as we get a challenge on for the Barry Riddell looking at the inside line in the Triumph TRH. Shonny Patterson back in third position at the moment. Been told we're going to get the safety car. There's a safety car coming from the Tri-Oval.
Oh, a last minute safety car as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it's Willie Toy getting all sideways in his TR8.
There was a graphic example of how Porsche's technology has improved in the last 30 years. The way that Scott Stringfellow got that 997 rocketing out of the holding point that they had for the safety car. But yeah, I mean, a fantastic move by Barry Riddell. These two really were the pace of the race yesterday, weren't they, Richard? You know, we saw, there's the damage to him.
That's Ian Morton in the Class A, the smallest class, the MG. And poor old Ian, he's had a wee bit of TV coverage, not the way he would have wanted. Let's just have a look. Derek trying to chop across the front of Ian's car. Oh, that was nasty.
It was at the initial contact, I don't think really had done too much damage. You can see the little... It's not the Stig driving that car, as it does look like it, but if it is, he's having an off day. But poor, very, very frustrating for Ian Morton in the MG, because you can see he did everything he could to try and avoid clattering into the cage.
Circuit clear now at Knockhill for the TMS trophy for the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons. Barry Riddell out front in the TR8. Great manoeuvre to pass Andy Smith, but keep your eyes on that Morgan. We were starting to talk about that before we had the safety car, but let's just watch the restart with Barry Riddell. I can't remember Barry being in this position before in the championship, leading around from the safety car, but he's done a pretty good job, and the field behaving themselves. Nice little sideways moment in the background there from Jimmy Crowe in the Mark 1 Ford Escort, but they all get away real well. Russell Patterson in the second. Morgan all the way back was looking at coming through, but Robert Marshall coming under pressure there from Willie Toy, who goes through. So Willie Toy, a Class D car, passing a Class B car, so a significant engine power differential between those two. Keep your eyes open for Nick Boys in the Little Mini, which is still leading Class A and was in the wet bit of qualifying yesterday, was 7th quickest, as you'd probably expect the Mini to run well. But even in the dry, that little car goes particularly well. There's Jimmy Crowe going through, Mario Ferrari in the Ferrari, Ollie Ross there in the White Lotus Europa, former champion, Mike Connon in the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus. There's Nick Boys just going through shot, being chased by Robin Ben. Great scrap going on there for Class B between the Ford Escort of Kieran Bailey and Richard Merrill, 29, the White Alpha leaders. Though Andy Smith had problems in qualifying and started yesterday's race right at the back of the grid. They put diesel in for qualifying.
Diesel in the ball. Yeah. Maybe there was a bit of, I know obviously their fuel is expensive these days, and obviously you want to get the best gas mileage, as the Americans would say, but a bit extreme trying to eke it out by throwing diesel in when it's not petrol.
Not the first team to do that. Certainly won't be the last either. So I don't want to belittle what they're doing at all, because Andy Smith is a superb pilot. Yeah.
Anyway, great. I mean, great drive from the back of the grid through to second. Absolutely charged through. Was a real star of the race. So interesting to see that Riddell has actually managed, certainly, to get a slightly better restart and edge away very slightly. It's going to be interesting to see as we watch the lap times and the TR8 smoking away there. And obviously, I actually had a TR7 in my youth, which didn't work very well, unfortunately. I remember driving it one night, actually, pop-up headlights didn't pop up through the night, they just dropped down. So I bashed the dashboard and they pop back up again. There you go. So, remarkable bit of British lane technology. I love the fact that in the programme notes it says, watch for the TR8s, they will be sideways. You can see that there's a lot of steering with the throttle going on in this.
The race leader, I'll tell you what, Andy Smith starting to close up a little bit. Andy's not done the full season with us in terms of the championship this year, but still at the top of the stacking class, which is the heaviest supported category, but always a cracking driver is Andy. He's closing up, and I think we might see a challenge for the lead with Barry Riddell, who won yesterday's race, but certainly Andy was the guy putting the pressure on. Andy with the fastest lap of the race, 58.374. As we look back, it's Shonny Patterson in third position, the second of the 3 TR8s that we've got, getting it sideways again. That's actually an ex-TR7 Shonny's car, and I know he wanted to, his main sponsor is his wife Fiona, who's here today watching, cheering him on. And look at this, down the inside as they come into the hairpin. Yeah, that's a pretty typical classic move. They like to try and give each other a bit of space. sometimes doesn't quite work that way at the start, but Andy Smith threw it into lead position. Barry Riddell's going to fight back though.
Yeah, immediately tries to cover the inside, but a bit too late. Instantly Riddell sees the opportunity of going back through, and of course this is where you have to use your advantage, which is of course the torque, the low down power. Very similar sort of power outputs really between the two cars, but a very different configuration obviously, although they're both rear-wheel drive and they're both V8 cars. Of course a much more lightweight car, much more outright sports car I suppose you could say for the Morgan than the TR8, and a bit of back marker issues coming in here. It's allowed, of course, Patterson to get a little bit closer. This could be a very interesting couple of corners for the leaders as they make their way. Patterson, I think, just a little bit more hindered by the 28 midget there of coming through a little bit more, the Pete Holdsworth car. But still smoking, even when he's halfway down the straight, Patterson's car, isn't it, Richard?
Absolutely right. Here comes Andy Smith having a look down the inside. I'm going to name check the MGB as well. Alex Montgomery running Class B. He's a newcomer to motor racing. But side by side, look at that sideways moment from what used to be a TR7, stuck the V8 engine in it a while ago. It's Willie Toy car. But Barry Riddell continues to lead from Andy Smith. Shawnee's coming up and joining. He's got backing Shawnee from a very well-known Scottish drinks company. I won't tell you who it is unless you can see it on the car. But that car is now officially made from Gardus.
Is it a sort of orange fizzy drink by any chance?
It might well be. Certainly some fizz in third place. Shawnee, a newcomer to racing. This is only his second season. He used to do rallying. Took some time off, about 10 years away from competition, and came into this. He was telling me this morning because for him it was cheaper than going rallying. Although he said this year's been a little bit more expensive because he's had some engine issues which he needs to get sorted out. Because he wanted to do a little bit more. So coming up on another one of the Alphas now as it comes through Clark Curve. Johnny Patterson 88 running real well. So he had a penalty yesterday, and we'll see whether he can get on the tabs of these other two Class D cars. We've got all Class Ds, first, second, third and fourth. Willie Toy in fourth position. So if you're watching the time code on the race instead, because of the safety car, we're now on a timed race rather than the number of laps. And still good stuff for the lead between these two. And Andy Smith down the inside as they come into Duffers Dip. Back through ahead of Barry Riddell. Can tell you that the Class C battle, going back a little bit, is the red Porsche 911 of Adam Bernard leading Russell Patterson, the former champion. Russell winning the championship a couple of years ago in his Morgan Plus 8. He's running in Class C rather than with a 3.6 litre car rather than the 3.9 litre Morgan that we see here with Andy Smith out front. But Shawnee Patterson getting on the case now of Barry Riddell, trying to close in. So the back marking Alfa Romeo is going to be the next car to be passed by the leaders, and it's a good bit of driving from the Alfa. Just pulls to the inside, allows the top three through. I think Russell.
Colin Beveridge, I think,
Colin Beveridge, yeah, the red one.
A bit of a drama yesterday, didn't he? Had a bit of a frustrating time. Another car from my youth. In fact, my very first car was an Alfa Sim.
Was it really?
So like Alfa TR7. I never really had a Porsche. Only a little tiny one anyway. But I did aspire after a Mark II Escort that looked like that in rally spec.
It's a beautiful car, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of like Bjorn Valdegaard type Mark II was the one I hankered after back in the day.
Well, if you bought one now, you could be Bjorn again.
Hey!
There's Adam Bernard. He's the son of the championship leader, Stan Bernard, who was injured. Stan's the one that had the right key from Derek Hastings. And, well, Adam's not done a full season. He's got a couple of new additions to the family, two young twins, which is good news. And Adam's really running well here. He's leading class ahead of Russell Patterson. Just ahead of him at the moment is Robert Marshall, who leads Class B in the Escort 2, and about to have a go at Alex Barrett, see if he can get through. So, race for place position there, but not for class. Robert Marshall took his first class win in the previous Classics round just a few weeks ago, so he's now he's got that first win. Seems to have added to his confidence in the Marshall construction car, so running very, very well indeed, ahead of Adam Bernard, who in turn is 2 seconds clear of Russell Patterson. Mario Ferrari's running third in Class C at the moment, but I gather might be having a few problems. And then the second Class B car is the white and blue Mark I Ford Escort of Jimmy Crowe. He's based locally here in Dunfermline. And Ollie Ross is third in class at the moment, the Lotus Europa. Let's have a look at some of these cars as they go through. There's Russell Patterson in the Class C Morgan coming up on the back marking Alpha. Here's Jimmy Crowe. Now this is a Class B battle. This is for second position in Class B. Jimmy Crowe in the Mark I Escort. Ollie Ross, the former champion, in the Bayron Engineering prepared car. And all that's left, Ollie had a bit of a shunt at the end of last season. All that's left, the original Europa that he had, was the gearbox and the engine.
That is a big shot. Oh, Ferrari in the Ferrari, having it off. easy to remember who's driving the Ferrari when he's called Ferrari, isn't
They
it?
should maybe change all the drivers'
Oh
names.
dear, that doesn't look good, does it?
That's
The
not
fluid
great.
there. Now, we're used to, when we talk about Porsche Carrera Cup cars, for example, having damage to the rads at the front if they get a bit of contact. Now, the question really being is that, was that the cause or the effect, really? Because we didn't see the beginning of that. But look, the water there trailing back halfway down the braking zone. So it looks to me like some sort of a mechanical issue, something's gone wrong somewhere. And unfortunately, he's bailing out, which means it's almost certainly going to... Here we go, look, see the fluid already starting to come out. I think it's probably drizzled onto the rear wheels, and when he goes to change down and brake, that's probably what's caused the car to stop.
You'll be told that the race is being stopped. Probably a wise decision, because you're going from a very fast part of the circuit down into the hairpin, and it's probably wise. It's a bit of a shame from our point of view.
Yeah, it was just starting to get really interesting, wasn't it, through the class battles especially, you know. And you were mentioning earlier there are 4 different classes, of course, in this, and so we've got 4 different winners effectively. So Alan Hyde on the podium presentation is going to have a busy old time giving out all those trophies, I think. Great drive by Andy Smith, though. Fantastic performance. Really shows what he probably would have done in the race yesterday had they not had that problem with misfueling the car, forcing him to start at the back. But honours shared between the two.
Absolutely right. Let's hope that we can maybe have a repeat visit from the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons next year and see a full trouble-free race. But Barry Smith, as you say, very, very happy with that one. Nick Boyes has won Class A in the Little Mini, ahead of Roger Motherwell, who takes second in the Alfa Sud in Class A. The Class B winner was Robert Marshall, so that's his 4th Class win this year. Jimmy Crowe taking second in that class. Class C being won by Adam Bernard, so great return to form for Adam Bernard in the red Porsche 911. Through goes Ian Blacklin in the Fiesta. But the TMS trophy overall today won by the Class D. Morgan, 3.9 litres, being well pedalled by Barry Smith ahead of Barry Riddell, and Russell Patterson taking 3rd place. Andy Smith taking the TMS trophy from Barry Riddell, Shonny Patterson in 3rd position, and Willie Toy in 4th. The Class D cars all annexing the top 4 positions. Class B won by Robert Marshall, who comes through in 5th position ahead of Class C winner. That is Adam Bernard in the Porsche 911. Russell Patterson takes 7th place from Jimmy Crowe. Ollie Ross in 9th. Mike Connon in 10th. Class A winner was Nick Boyes in the Mini.
Sure, yeah, it wasn't looking good. I was ready for going home yesterday, and then it came good in the end, so it was a great day. Yeah,
a good race. It was just a shame about the safety cars, because I think as time was going on, the guys in front of me, their tyres were going off a little bit. So no, fantastic, great day.
I'd say that the Mini just performs really well in those conditions. Being front-wheel drive, I'm able to get the power down early, and I can sort of match the pace of the larger engine cars.
R7s have got a wee bit more grunt than I've got, so you're not going to catch them, but to win my class I was delighted with that. And to keep up with these guys is an achievement as well, so I thoroughly enjoy it.
Classic Sports and Saloons providing an enjoyable bit of Knockhill nostalgia.